Hello, and welcome to another week of Burning Hearts, our 2026 Bible reading plan. On Friday, we started the book of Genesis, and we're not reading everything in Genesis. There's just too much, and we're skipping over some really important things. I kind of just had to do it to make it all fit into a year. So feel free, I want to encourage you strongly to read the stuff that we're skipping, because there's some really foundational stories in there. It hurts me that we can't get it all in. But on Friday, we read Genesis 1, which of course is the creation of everything. And this is God bringing order out of disorder in order to create a stable environment where human beings and life can flourish. Because God's purpose is flourishing of life, of human flourishment in particular, where we as human beings, you might remember from Friday, we bear God's image. And what that means is that we reflect His glory, His dominion, His being king. We as little kings and queens reflect that because we're given to rule over the birds and the fish and the land, and ultimately, just like God does, to bring order out of disorder and to cultivate life where there was no life. And that's what the garden imagery is really all about. It's about expanding the garden. So this week we are reading 5 chapters from Genesis, chapter 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8. And chapter 2 and 3 are the narratives surrounding Adam and Eve. Of course, the creation of human beings, as the phone is ringing. That was a courtesy call. I'm not ignoring someone important. Genesis 2 and 3 are the creation of man and woman and kind of focusing in on that and their calling really to cultivate life. Genesis 3, of course, is the story of human beings and our disobedience, our rejecting the life that God gives us, rejecting living in the presence of God's life, gaining wisdom from a relationship with God. We rejected that, and because of that, the world fell apart, and we fractured our relationship with one another and with God, and even with the very creation. The next story, which we're skipping in Genesis 4, and again, read it, and Genesis 5 goes the same direction. The world goes to hell. That's honestly what happens. The first thing that happens is Cain and Abel, right? There's a murder. And then it all falls apart, and then you have in Genesis 6, 7, and 8, and then 9 also, we'll get there next week, is the story of Noah. And really at the core of what Noah is all about, and it's interesting that there's 4 chapters spent on it, is the world had fallen into such disarray, such bloodshed and violence. The world was meant to be filled with blessing, and instead it was filled with bloodshed. That's the core of it. And the world needed to be cleansed. It needed to be washed clean so that God could sort of start anew. And that's what the story of Noah and the ark is really all about. God washing the earth clean of the violence and the bloodshed. The issue is they get out of the ark, and well, we'll save that for next week. But I want to encourage you to read this week, fill in the gaps if you have time to read those chapters we're skipping. And the thing about reading this ancient Jewish literature is it's so rich, and there are so many levels to it. And if we're reading it just at face value, I think we're missing a lot of what's happening. You'll notice a lot of themes, a lot of things are kind of pulled back in, and there's lots of layers, and it's kind of like intertwined. There's lots of odd details. Those odd details are there, not because they were bad writers, but because they were great writers. And so when you see or read an odd detail, spend some time reflecting on it and meditating on it and paying attention to why is that little odd detail there. I will tell you, the Bible Project, which I talk about all the time, is excellent on Genesis. I mean, almost to a fault. Everything goes back to Genesis. And so make sure to check out the resources that the Bible Project has on Genesis in particular. If you're really interested in this stuff, they have entire classes on like the first 3 chapters of the Bible, the first chapter of the Bible, on like the whole Noah story. Lots of videos, lots of articles, lots of great resources. It's all really great, really solid. Check it out. But yeah, I'd love for you to ask me questions, come talk to me, reflect with me on what in the world is happening in these early chapters of Genesis. All right, have a great week of reading.